Hello everyone and welcome back to Module 12, Part 2 of the Summary and Recap. Here we are going to discuss the real case scenarios from science to practice. So whatever you have learned till now, how actually we translate it into practice, and these are again the real case scenarios of the athletes. We thought it is good to discuss with you so you can understand how we handle the cases in real life. So myself along with Dr. Vibha Acharya are going to talk about certain cases here where you will learn how we handle the cases and how it helped the athletes. Over to you, Dr. Vibha.
Thank you. In our first case, let's discuss a 19-year-old track and field female athlete training 6 hours a day is getting frequent muscle cramps and headaches. She starts taking painkillers to deal with these cramps and headache. What would be your first line of action when you consult the athlete? Over to you.
So when this athlete, 19 years old female athletes come to us, the first line of action when she complains about the muscle cramps and the headaches, the first thing we need to think about is her hydration status. Whether she is getting adequate amount of water along with the electrolytes, because those are the leading cause. In the Indian athletes, I would say, they do not replenish water and electrolytes to the level where they are supposed to. So first thing we will try to assess is her hydration requirement and whether she is consuming adequate electrolytes and water to make sure that her body is well hydrated. We will also have to rule out the possibility of low hemoglobin level. So we may have to send her for the blood test to check that there is no anemia that exists, because headache can also be due to the anemia. So we need to make sure, since it's a female athlete, we need to make sure her hemoglobin, iron, ferritin and level are in the proper range so that we can actually prescribe them. We can look into the other side of it. Now in this case, we will prescribe this athlete with electrolyte replacers, and also if that works fine, we will go to the sports drink also in case her diet is not providing her adequate energy. So we will also look into some carbohydrate along with the electrolytes. So either electrolyte replacers itself or the sports drink where some carbohydrate is also provided along with the electrolytes will be the right course of action, and of course it will depend on the consultation, assessing her current diet, and diet for the reason we need to know the carbohydrate intake before training, so that she is not getting headaches because of low glycogen level or low carbohydrate. So whether to give her replenishing the electrolytes only or the carbohydrates along with the sports drink will depend on the assessment that we will do properly after the consultation with the athlete. Thank you. Now we move on to the second case scenario here, which I am going to ask, and Dr. Vibha is going to help us understand that better. It is a 23 years old swimmer who experiences frequent bloating, irregular bowel movement and 3 to 4 episodes of cold flu in the last 6 months. So when we took the dietary recall, it revealed that recently increased protein intake, but the diet is low in fiber. So we want to know here what would be the first line for guidance for this particular athlete who is into competitive swimming. Over to you, Dr. Vibha.
So, as the details of the case reveals that the gut imbalance that is being created may be because of low fiber intake, poor microbial diversity in his gut microflora and high protein food intake without prebiotic support. So, in that case, first we will need to take a proper recall of diet and hydration, assess the stool pattern, food sources of fiber, protein types and timing. History of antibiotic use is also important to be noticed here. We will also check for his bowel habits, his hydration, timing of dairy intake as well as the food intolerances. We will identify where are the gaps in the diet before supplementation. So first we will try the food first strategy here. So first of all, we will recommend the gradual intake in prebiotic food sources such as banana, oats, curd, garlic and other vegetables, along with some fermented foods such as curd, buttermilk, idli, dosa and if available kefir, kombucha, etc. We can also suggest him to include some fiber rich foods such as cooked beans, vegetables that are steamed, and we can also include some soluble fiber like chia seeds, sabja, etc. After gradual inclusion of these prebiotic, probiotic food stuff, we will see if there is bloating and gas production and if probiotic supplementation is required. If the symptoms still persist, then we will look for the medical intervention and we will probably recommend him some probiotic supplements. But we will always use the clinically researched strains such as lactobacillus and bifidobacterium The minimum strength should be 5 to 10 colony forming units per day, and they should always be taken on the empty stomach before meals unless the label says otherwise. It is also important to note that at least 4 to 6 weeks of probiotic and prebiotic supplementation is required before the symptoms improves. Supplements should also be stored in proper condition for optimal retention of probiotic strains. Now, we'll also have to avoid that he does not take any random digestive enzyme or prebiotic or probiotic mixes, and stop and reassess if the symptoms have worsened or are improving with the probiotic supplementation. So, this would be the total line of treatment or consultation that will go ahead to solve this case. Now let us see our third and very interesting case of two athletes who want to gain size and strength. One is a 21-year-old midfielder footballer. He wants to gain overall weight and muscle. He has high training volume and high energy output as well. He is using a commercial mass gainer but feels bloated. Then there is another case of a boxer who is 19-year-old, 61 kg category, also wants to gain some lean muscle mass without crossing weight class, needs upper body strength and power. He also starts mass gainer on gym advice, feels sluggish and weight sensitive. How will you approach this mass gain strategy differently?
So this is a really interesting case scenario here. There are two athletes who want to gain weight, but their disciplines are different. One is a footballer and the other one is boxer. The requirement of the footballer is to build overall mass. That means he needs to gain overall weight, that is the muscle weight as well as some of the fat weight that can come along with overall mass gain. But for the boxer, he needs to maintain more of the lean mass. Now, if you remember during the session on mass gainer, we talked about different formulations of mass gainers. So, generally the combination of carbohydrate and protein 3 to 1 or 2 to 1. So, in this case, we apply that knowledge here. Then also certain mass gainers actually come with added ingredient, that is creatine. And during the session I had explained you the usefulness of different kind of mass gainers. Here, so say take the case of the footballer who wants to gain overall weight. So, we do not need to just be concerned with only lean mass or the muscular gain here. And so, just to make sure that his overall energy intake is higher than what he is already taking, and what is, of course, this all will be based on their assessment, proper dietary recall, and what is the current intake of carbohydrate, protein, how much of energy, calories and protein surplus they require. Based on that, we may, for the footballer, the major energy requirement we are going to fulfill with the help of carbohydrate, because we are giving him the mass gainer 3 to 1 ratio. So, carbohydrate is going to be higher here because it will provide more energy, which may be converted to fat. It will give him fat as well as the muscle gain. When it comes to the case of this boxer, we will have to make sure that he gains more of the lean mass, because that is what is the requirement. And again, another thing I want to repeat here, we just do not go by what the athlete tell us. We send them for the body composition analysis. We first check the analysis and see what is their current body composition, which may actually, this boxer may have little lower side on the lean mass. So, in that case we want to gain lean mass, but in the case of footballer, if we see the lean and fat mass both can be increased, so we work accordingly. The case can be in either way. So, again, in this particular case scenario, the boxer needs to gain lean mass, so we can prescribe him the formulation 2 to 1, the ratio of carbohydrate and protein along with creatine, so that it's like it will make sure that he is increasing more of the muscle mass here, not only the fat part is not going to be increased quite a lot. Now, we will have to make sure the overall calories that they are taking. So, of course, any kind of supplement prescription goes along with the dietary prescription. We do not rely solely on the supplement when we are working on the body composition changes. So, certain cases when they need to gain overall mass, lean mass or fat mass, whichever way, it goes into the body composition changes. So, when we manipulate anything with the body composition, we need to make sure their dietary intake should be in place, and supplement are actually playing the role of supplements only. It is not going to be replacing or enhancing the performance. So, first we need to look into overall energy enhancement, protein enhancement through the diet, and then we go into mass gainer. So, again, Summarizing it here, for the footballer, a mass gainer with carbohydrate and protein 3:1 ratio will be a good fit in this particular case, and for the boxer, mass gainer with 2:1 ratio of carbohydrate and protein along with added creatine will be a good supplementation strategy here, because he does need to gain only the lean mass. Thank you. Now let us discuss another case here, which is a 20-year-old cyclist who has a poor sleep cycle, eyelid twitching and muscle tightening. He gets calf cramps after evening training, and cramps usually worsen in intense training weeks. He drinks 3 to 4 cups of coffee every day. The diet is high in simple and refined carbohydrates, low intake of legumes and nuts and seeds. What would be your immediate evaluation and action steps for this particular cyclist, Dr. Vibha?
So for this case, symptoms suggest that low quality diet is possible. My first doubt will be that he might be having magnesium deficiency or low mineral intake, and along with that he has a lot of stress. Cycling anyways is an endurance sports which requires a high intensity training, and then caffeine overload is also playing some role here. So first I'll review his diet recall, caffeine intake, sleep pattern, hydration, and also assess the sodium intake, sweat rate and post training recovery foods that he is taking, along with the food frequency questionnaire for specifically for magnesium rich foods that he is consuming currently. Then my first approach would be to include more magnesium through food sources such as pumpkin seeds, almond, spinach, banana, oats and dark chocolate. And we'll also have to ensure that he remains in a positive energy balance and gets a good post exercise combination of recovery shake or some recovery fuel that he needs to take. Also will be suggested that he should cut down on caffeine, especially later in the day. He should not consume too much of caffeine. That might also interfere with his sleep pattern. So first, after doing this, we'll oversee if the symptoms are improving or are persisting. If the symptoms are still persisting, we'll have to get his serum magnesium or serum electrolyte test done. And if we see that yes, the levels are still low, then we might consider magnesium supplementation for a short time to improve his sleep recovery. Now let's discuss another case where a female athlete approaches you with the request to suggest a supplement for performance enhancement. While consulting you, she finds out that she wants supplement because his and her teammates are also using the same supplement, and the coach has also encouraged her to start the same supplement. How would you handle the situation where athlete is asking for you to prescribe the supplements?
I would like all my participants to think about when I talked in the first week about the psychology of supplement, where at times the social context comes in, the peer pressure comes in, and they feel to have that edge in the competition comes in. So here clearly when the athlete is coming and asking for the supplement, and the reason is because the peer group and the coach asked her to consume the supplement. So that is, it's not her thought, or she doesn't even say it's her requirement, but she wants to try supplements because the others are asking her to do so. So of course, in any case, the first thing is we do need to check the diet recall, whether she actually is getting adequate nutrients through her natural diet, and of course related to the training load and intensity. And then we decide whether or not she requires the supplement. Now in this case, when the peer group and all they are saying, so just to be a good fit, they want to start supplement because everyone else is taking. And many a times with the young athletes, it is like if they are taking and showing the result, I should take it too, or rather because the coach wants me to take, because the coach thinks taking certain supplement is actually going to be beneficial. So again, diet recall and then the body composition analysis, and if the blood test, if it is required, if the athlete is complaining of having certain symptom. There can be two things. If we find everything is fine, her body composition report, everything showing within the range, blood test if we at all do it, showing everything within the range, her energy and nutrient intake falls in range according to her age, sport and also the training load. So if that all matches, we will not be prescribing any supplement just because the athlete wants to take it. Now in this scenario, it becomes very important for us to understand it is a psychological need that they have, or which are being pressured on them that they need to start having the supplements. So, but there may also be a requirement when we do all the tests, all the assessments, there may be a slight requirement, they may be lacking in one or the other nutrient, and we can ask them to start certain supplement. But if it is only pure psychological, here it becomes very important to educate the athlete. Here, when, if you remember earlier in the session, we talked that we need to have a purpose to have the supplement, and the purpose cannot be that someone wants me to use this supplement. That is not a purpose. Whether the supplement is required, whether it's going to be efficient for you, if it is not required, why would you want to take it, and if you take supplement without requirement, there can be negative impact also. So, we need to educate the athlete, if possible coach and the peer group also. So, we do not feel pressured just because the athlete wants the supplement. We as professionals do not feel pressured to prescribe supplement just for the sake of it, because supplement, as you know, there are a lot of marketing gimmick, there are a lot of social context to it. We need to understand that supplement market is different than actually what is required by the athlete. So, that is why we need to be very, very careful when somebody is coming just for the psychological need of having supplement. At that time the counseling skills come in, and you need to have your case properly presented in terms of when you show it on the paper, on the printed report of body composition analysis and your diet analysis. When you show it to the athlete and you take them in confidence, you make them understand that there is actually no requirement for the real supplement that they are asking for. So, there are chances that they will understand and they will not start taking supplements on their own. Thank you. Alright. So, here is another case of a 25 years old elite female basketball player, 3 weeks post ACL reconstruction. The currently undergoing physiotherapy 3 times a week and has been cleared for partial weight bearing exercises. Report reduced appetite, frustration due to inactivity and mild quadriceps atrophy, which generally happens after ACL reconstruction. The athlete wants to know how nutrition and supplement can help her regain muscle and support recovery. What will be our first line of guidance to this particular case?
So, ACL injuries or other types of ligament tendon injuries are very, very common in sports, especially in football, basketball, or any running events also. In the first phase of post-surgery, our focus should be on to controlling the inflammation, preserving the lean mass, which will happen due to immobilization and inactivity, which will lead to detraining of the muscles. And we also have to promote collagen resynthesis that will support the wound healing, and for that it is important to have to meet the energy needs of the athlete also without gaining excess weight, which can be detrimental, which can delay her return to play also. So, the key supplement strategy in such post-surgical cases, yes, supplement can play a very important role, but they should always be taken in consultation with sports medicine doctor or orthopedicians. So, the key supplement strategy here would be first, again, quality protein through diet, and if diet is unable to meet the requirement of protein, then we'll also can take help from whey, soy, egg and other types of plant proteins as well. So, a good protein blend of whey or plant based would be a right way to start the supplementation. 1.8 to 2.2 grams per kg per day body weight, and space throughout the day into doses of 20 to 25 grams of protein with every meal. Now, creatine monohydrate, as we have already understood that yes, it can play a very important role in muscle resynthesis and just stimulating the muscle protein synthesis after injury and during detraining phase also. So, it will preserve the lean mass in this type of injury cases, and it will also enable the strength to go through the rehabilitation, the aggressive rehabilitation plan which is required in certain cases. Now, collagen and vitamin C, it has been extensively discussed. They will definitely help in connective tissue resynthesis that we require the athlete to strengthen the tissue that has been reconstructed, and so that they can come to the field as soon as possible. Omega-3 fatty acids and other antioxidants and polyphenols can also play a role in reducing the inflammation. Now, micronutrient will also be required to support the healing, and vitamin D, zinc and calcium can play a very important role in such cases. However, the practical nutrition tip would be to aim for slight calorie deficit to reduce the calorie or the meet the calorie exactly at the right point, so as in order to not gain too much of fat while the athlete is not able to do a lot of activity, is not doing active sports and only training, that is also only rehabilitation therapy. So we have to focus that every meal has more protein, more complex carbohydrates, good amount of fiber in that, so that we do not inadvertently consume more refined carbs or end up gaining weight. Now, anti-inflammatory food options such as turmeric, berries, ginger, olive oil, all of they are great options and can and should be included. However, it is very important that whatever we are doing or suggesting, in such cases a multidisciplinary team approach is the best way to go. We have to be in touch with the physios, the massage therapists and the consulting sports medicine doctor, so that we all are on the same page, and it doesn't happen that nutritionist is also prescribing couple of supplements while the other team members like sports medicine doctor has also prescribed the same. So it is important to note the whole team is on the same point and we all know that what is happening with the case. And then as the progress goes on, we can change. It is important to also change the diet plan as the rehabilitation program becomes more frequent. Then we'll also have to increase the calorie accordingly. We cannot keep them at the lower level anymore. So that's how I'm going to deal with this case. And now we have another case example which includes supplement selection process. So in example 1, we have a case of an athlete who's looking to increase his protein intake, and he has been suggested whey protein as an option, and he goes to the market and he sees 5-6 option in the same brand, but he doesn't know anything about the selection criteria. Ma'am, how would you guide this particular athlete so that he chooses the right one?
So this is a very important discussion, because we as professional are doing our job to educate athletes, coaches, peer group and the support staff to look for certain things in the sports supplement, and we prescribe accordingly according to their need. Now when we have we have assessed their need for the whey protein, we also have figured out different kind of available brands in the market which can be suitable according to their requirement. We have checked everything, the selection accordingly, that this looks safe and all that. So this is what this athlete wanted. We have educated the athletes about is you need to check the third party certification that the supplement is actually safe to consume and does not contain any banned substance which can actually get them into trouble later on. Then we want the whey protein isolate 100%. So it has to be, so when we talked about the whey protein, you understand there was different type of, so concentrate, isolate, hydrolysate, all kind of protein supplements available out there. We want this particular athlete to have whey protein isolate 100%, and also the price range should be reasonable so that it is more affordable by the athlete. Now when the athlete goes to buy it in the market, what happens for various reasons? Of course, the athlete want to get more out of whatever money they are spending, or they are influenced by the seller, by the vendor who is actually selling them the supplement. So the athlete ends up buy whey protein isolate and hydrolysate blend, whereas our aim was to buy the 100% whey isolate. Then some enzymes and some testosterone boosters and some creatine was added to that protein. Now we need to mind this because that was not the requirement. We just wanted simple whey protein, whey isolate. Now the label that the athlete didn't read properly brings in a lot of things. That's why it is very important to understand the label reading. So now the supplement which the athlete bought now contains the testosterone booster and creatine also, along with of course the protein blend. And then it is not certified, because many times the athletes don't understand the certification, though we try our best, but many times it's the vendor that listen to, because the vendor can give them guarantee in a way that okay, this is going to do wonders, because the vendor is not the one who is going to get caught in the doping net. So that's why when the athlete doesn't read the label and he or she doesn't check whether it is certified by third party lab, then it becomes difficult for us also to save them. Then there are certain claims which are which may be fake, which are not actually authentic, or which actually are not checked for the claims that the supplement company is making. and then added cost and higher health and risks, doping risks they may run. So, this is why generally we tell athletes that whatever has been decided, you need to buy the particular product. We can give them certain brands, though we do not want to endorse brands, but we can give them certain brands which are properly producing the genuine supplements along with the third party lab certification. So, and this happens a lot. So, this is with the collective experiences we are talking about all these supplements and the case scenarios. This happens a lot that we prescribe something to the athlete, they go out and due to various reasons they end up buying something which was not actually the intention. So, in that case, if the athlete gets caught or if there are any risk, if they get sick or the supplement does not suit them or they get caught into doping, then who is responsible? So, after all this case we are discussing here just to let you know that the athlete should be guided that they are responsible for whatever is found in their body. We as a professional are helping and educating them, but this can happen very often and it does happen with us all the time. When we are prescribing something, the athletes end up buying the something else only. So, this is our course of action which should be, but this is the reality that you all should be aware of. Thank you. Now, we will move on to the another example in similar case where we are talking about the selection of supplement. So, we find there is a micronutrient deficiency, an athlete comes to us and the report suggests that he or she has micronutrient deficiency. So, we want to have iron with folate suggested by the doctor. So, the doctor sends that they need to have this and this supplement and for 12 weeks. So, this is the basic requirement that the athlete comes up with. So, we will ask Vibha that how she is going to address this, or if she has any experience with certain cases where it worked out in a different way. Over to you, Vibha.
Yeah, so there have been cases such as this, that yes, the athlete was iron deficient, there was a clear deficiency revealed by the blood testing, and the doctor prescribed the iron and folate supplement along with vitamin C as per the standard protocol for 12 weeks course. However, the athlete wanted immediate result. She wanted her hemoglobin or ferritin levels to come to the normal within 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, because she has a competition coming up really soon. So, there is competition anxiety, performance anxiety in the competition. So, she is looking for an immediate boost. And then what she ended up doing is buying a pre-workout with caffeine to feel energized before training, because as we know, in iron deficiency you will feel slow, you will have headache, low energy levels are very common because the body or working muscles are not getting sufficient oxygen delivered because of low hemoglobin levels. That is normal in anemia condition. However, she wants an immediate boost, so she started using a pre-workout with caffeine. She assumes that because she is deficient in iron, there will also be some other micronutrient deficiency. So, she starts using some over the counter multi-mineral tablet also along with that, which has calcium and other minerals as well. Now, she takes multivitamin gummies for the safe measure and to be on the safe side, so that suppose her diet and her extra supplements are in case not meeting her requirement, she will also take some gummies. And then when discussed with family members also suggest some herbal medicine to her, which she start using that remedy as well. So, what will happen in that case? The root cause was simple, iron deficiency, which was detected, determined by the experts and started on the standard course also. But what athlete ended up doing is something very different. And what happened is, because of pre-workout formula that has a lot of caffeine, and we know that caffeine interferes with iron absorption. So, whatever iron she was taking from the supplement, that is also not being absorbed, right? If the athlete is vegetarian or mensurating, the problem becomes even worse. Then, because of some extra over the counter multivitamin or multi-mineral supplement that she is taking, there is a high chance that it will also have calcium, and if the timing of the two tablet is they are taken together or at the same time, then that will further reduce the absorption of the iron and folate supplement that has been prescribed officially, because calcium and iron, they compete for the absorption. So, we know that it will further reduce the absorption. Then she is taking multivitamin gummies also. So, in case she is taking other OTC supplement and multivitamin gummies, we all know that and vitamin mineral requirement should be met as per the RDA. If you go overboard by using multiple different type of supplement, there is a chance that you will reach the tolerable upper limit, which we do not want in any case, right? And there is also a risk of nutrient interaction, which will ultimately affect the overall absorption. And then the herbal remedy sent by her family with good concern, and good faith, but however, because her competition is coming close and she is using that in desperation, she might end up getting, increasing her doping risk, because we do not always know, because herbal supplements are not well regulated, they do not have the label transparency, we do not know what they contain, so she might increase her risk of getting caught as well. So these are some cases where we prescribe something because of certain condition, but the athlete end up buying something else and using something else, which can increase their risk.
So with this we come to an end for this session, and we genuinely hope that you got to learn some real life scenarios, whereas one thing is our learning and our education, and second thing is putting it into application. The practical application at times may be difficult or tricky, as I would say. So that all depends on the understanding level, education of the athletes, though we are trying our best, but we do fall into certain situation every now and then, and that's why we thought of doing this session. So just to give you a practical understanding on how the supplement usage actually go in a different way than what we actually learned during the teaching and the education sessions. With this we will end this session, and I will see you soon with the concluding part of our course, just in the next session, where we will talk about just the conclusions, key takeaways, and also some important information which you need to always remember in terms of when it comes to dealing with athletes and also prescribing the supplements. So see you soon in the next session. Bye bye.